I really like the illustration of perfection as protection. That really spoke to me, and I think we can all really relate to that. And then that being said, linking that with someone going through transition, when you would be looking for examples to emulate. And sometimes we go to those extremes on the spectrum of femininity or masculinity in trying to find oneself. And it's just a swinging pendulum back and forth until you get a chance, hopefully, in a supportive environment or enough validation within yourself to settle in that sweet spot for your own individuality. And so I think that links very much with the perfection is protection and a lot of societal understanding and perceptions that we have on we need to be perfect, we need to be this, we need to be doing this or doing that to be worthy. And I think that's something we all can relate to.
What can happen is it will always try to reassert itself because, in a way, when we're changing, there's a piece of us that's going to feel like, well, don't I matter anymore? And if we give this energy to that, and so when we are perfectionist, what can sometimes happen is we're creating a scenario in our head that we cannot get to or allow ourselves. And so we have to befriend and then sometimes say bye to even pieces of ourselves. And I relate this to my transition as the process of becoming yourself. And that's what's going on here. And it's painful. Change is so extremely painful, good, bad, or indifferent. And so it's an evolution, if you will. And I'm not saying that all people will evolve into being a trans person. That's by no means, please do not hear me say that. Um, but I think that we're all evolving to be our true nature and our truest selves. Um, and I see that consistently with people, but I also know that that process is scary. You can make so many mistakes. You can fall on your face. Um, and there are still people in the society where if you're not perfect, you're wrong. If you fall, then you're wrong. And it's not okay. I can remember when I started my transition and I spoke to my aunt, who was one of my big major supporters and person I love. And there is a trans person who was much older than I in my family that lives out west somewhere. Now, I've never met them. I've never spoken with them. I have communicated with them via my aunt, mostly because this person who's much older was treated very poorly by most people in our family. And my aunt happened to be one person that was always very kind. But even though I was trans and beginning, they did not know me and they were not interested in going through. And I'm sure it was the wounds of their own family that does not speak with them. And so with those pieces, I got some wisdom of like, whatever your name is, don't ever change it. Get people will get tired if you're changing your name all the time. Don't release it till you're ready. And you're gonna, all these different things. And it was all this stuff of just like, even from the elder trans person who was articulating me through this code system of speaking through my aunt, kind of rules and things to go by. And it's protection. And so when we're in a state of change, we really hold on to the things that have helped us. In addiction, it's literally the thing that helps them feel okay from whatever pain that they're feeling.
Self
So,
medication.
yeah, absolutely. It's all about self-hatred and protection and feeling safe. And so, people resort to violence when they feel unsafe in some instances. And that's what we're seeing. Every act of violence right now is literally a very loud, I don't feel safe. The perception I had of the world is being shown to me as maybe not true or under threat. Whether it's disillusionment or the fact that some people feel like they're losing power. And the problem is, and not the problem is, but they are. And they don't know what to do with that because they've had a sense of power, whether it was entitled to them, whether they're entitled to it, is another show and another conversation. Because at the end of the day, you're seeing people who are scared and are afraid and are hurting. And unfortunately, there some of them are choosing to protect their sense of self very violently, you know, and that happens with addiction, that happens with mental illness, it happens in regular health issues, all these different things. And so we really just have to look at it from a perspective of transition in every way is hard. And the world is growing, and we have to be open to the conversations with ourselves. And we are not used to that. I love noise. I am addicted to noise. It's something that I work on, and at times I'm there. But I also accept myself because I know that there's things about that noise that helps me. You know,
Right.
could I be choosing maybe more intellectual things to listen to all the time? Yes. But I accept that as myself as I'm going through transitions and change, as long as I'm not doing it to the point of blocking something out, allowing noise to become an addiction, which it can for me at times. It absolutely can for me at times, but I have to recognize, but the only way I can recognize it in myself is if I'm having those conversations. And that's how my transition even started.